You do think about that a lot, is our frequency, is what we do, is it normal? Are we right? Is our relationship good? And you don't really talk about that to anybody else. So these kind of surveys are kind of fun, just how you compare to people.
Did you push record?
Thank you for tuning into Second Act TV. I'm happy Robert Manni is joining me for another segment talking about love and relationships after 50, specifically today. How does your romance, your intimacy, your sex life compare to everybody else out there? Big question, huh, Robert? Welcome to Second Act TV.
Hello there, Silke. How are you? Glad to be here again.
Robert, of course, is the author of the Guys Guide to Love and the host of Guy Radio. And we're talking everything guys opinion here today. So let's go over this survey. This is actually it's a huge survey that's online. I'll link to it. You can actually take it yourself. It's dynamic. In this article, what has been pulled out is based on 8,000 people, couples over 50. So let's see how with these questions how you compare to everybody else out there and why that may or may not be important.
I'm so weird, Silke. So.
Well, you meaning our audience, but you can put yourself in there as well. Here's one. Do you kiss or hug your partner in public? 32% of men and 48% of women say no, and 68% of those who keep hands off in public are unhappy.
I think that's a good one. I do kiss and hug my wife, and I don't usually do it outside or in public, but in the house, I make sure every day I go up to her and give her a hug and tell her I love her. Something just to make that connection because I think it's important. And actually, though, when we walk sometimes, we'll hold hands, and it's nice, and that makes that human connection there. So I think any way that people connect with each other, couples, physically, is a good thing.
No, absolutely. It's funny that how often do you hold hands with your partner is one of the questions I was going to discuss here. And 78% of couples say they hold hands at least sometimes, but it seems to be the newer couples to where the older, the longer you've been in a relationship, the less you do, and then the less your happiness goes down. And it might seem kind of silly. Do you hug and, hold hands? Do you kiss in public? But it is doing that does say something about your mindset and about your relationship and how you make the other person feel, right?
Yeah, agreed. Again, the act of hugging your partner, telling them that you love them, and or walking along holding hands together. I think they're all important, and that you should think about: is there some way we can connect physically every single day? Because it's important. Because how many days do we have? Every day that you make a physical connection is a good one. The brazen display of public affection as a like, look at us, that's ego. But doing it is the main thing, and that's a really good thing. Even if it's for you want other people to see it, hey, you're still hugging. There's nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
that's funny that you see it that way because I don't see it as in my mind. We're coming from people who are afraid to show affection or hesitant to show affection in public versus here, look at me. That the act of holding back says something about
Yes.
what you think your relationship. And then to your point about the hand holding, it says here research shows that holding hands can even help settle arguments. And that is so true if you think about it. If you're in an argument, it all of a sudden just grab somebody's hand and you've just changed the dynamics of that conversation.
Absolutely. My wife grabs me around my throat, and that changes the attitude of the conversation also.
Totally. Here's another good one about how does intimacy and romance compare to others? How frequently do you tell your partner you love him or her? And it says here more than 90% of men tell their partners, I love you regularly, while only 58% of women do the same. That surprised me.
To me, it's all good. So if you do it, keep doing it, and if you don't do it, think about doing it because what could be wrong with a relationship where people express their love for each other? I don't see anything wrong with that if you do love them. And if you're going to keep it to yourself, how will the other person actually know? So just put it out there and be comfortable and say, this is my partner. I love you. And, things run their course. at least you gave it your best shot and you showed love and you're open and your heart is open and it's very healthy.
The uh, the frequency that's recommended for the happiest couples is like once a week even, or once, what did they say here, no need to gush, no, a daily I love you seems to do the trick. How hard is that on a phone call or something? And it's true. You don't want to, like with me, I don't want to hear all day long, oh, I love you, love you, love you. Then it takes the meaning away. But just this, simple or sincere once a day, it's something to think about. So if you're not doing that, think about that. Why aren't you doing it? Here's one that I think you'll like. Do you ever get the sense that your partner has sex with you out of a sense of obligation? And here the stats, 12.5% of people in a relationship for a year or less say yes, compared with almost 50% of people in a relationship of 21 years or more.
Well, I think nobody wants to, it's always preferable to have sex with a partner who is eager and willing and finds you attractive and can't wait to hop in the rumple up those sheets with you. That's great. Now, occasionally, it's going to be like more of a, okay, I got to take care of him tonight. We're going to get some of that, and it's not the end of the world, but it's not the very best. So I think the point is, the- you know, you have to use your own discretion, and it's different for men. Men, as we've talked about in the past, Silka, they know how to compartmentalize. If it's just doing it, they'll do it. And but it should be more than that. And with your partner, it should be a special occasion. And although a guy will probably accept it just as like, okay, I'm taking care of him. It's much better if like, wow, she thinks I'm like the sex god, and we're going to go out, and this is awesome, and she's Wonder Woman, and that's a lot of fun, and that's a great way to expressing intimacy. But couples go through their ebb and flow, and I think the key is if you're a guy and you're paying attention, you can see if she's interested and she wants to have sex tonight, or not. And if she doesn't, what I do at least, I just say, if I'm sensing like she's tired or whatever, and she's just not in the mood, and I'm not going to take it personally. You know what? We're in it for the long haul, and I know when we do it, it'll be great. So, you know what? Let's cut each other a break. I might be more dialed up than she is, and everybody has their own sexual motor, I think. And you have to find a happy medium with couples that works for both of you. You can't expect everybody to be at the exact same place at the same time all the time. Although that happens. I've been in relationships where, it was go, go, go. And other relationships that might have been even better were not go, go, go all the time. But when we did get together, it was special.
Yeah.
So every case is different, and I think we just have to be present and not judge our partners and not expect them to be on the same schedule as we have. And if you sense that they're not really in it at the moment, you either use your best romantic skills or you say, "I'll live to fight another day and love another day."
Well, that is a question on here, is how often do you and your partner make love? And so just for comparison purposes, 31% of couples have sex several times, and this is again couples over 50. 31% have several times a week. 28% have sex a couple times a month, and 8% once a month. And then they say, sadly, 33% of the respondents said they rarely or never have sex.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the biggest sexual organ or driver is right here between our ears and also our heart. But I think everybody's on their own schedule. Every couple has their own way of doing it. I think the sad thing is if one person just is not interested anymore and the other person becomes frustrated, or both of them, they're not having any intimacy. Now, I'm not talking about they have to have penetrative sex all the time, but intimacy is really what it's all about. It's an expression of love and being together and having your energy, interwoven in that special way that only two people can experience. So I think the main thing is find ways of expressing intimacy as often as possible, and everything else, including the physical aspect, should flow from there.
Yeah. Well, and it is a question that that people, couples, whatever they are, you do think about that a lot. Is our frequency, is what we do, is it normal? Are we right? Is our relationship good? And you don't really talk about that to anybody else. So these kind of surveys are kind of fun, just how you compare to people. So go
Right.
on there and take it. Maybe here one more that I think we don't think about enough. But do you tell your partner how attractive they are? 47% of women and 55% of men say yes.
I think it's important, and I think it's important to be sincere about it. And I think if you are in a situation where when you find your partner to be the most attractive person to you physically and also spiritually and emotionally in whatever other way, and loving in a loving sense, that's a really then you know you have a really good relationship. You don't want to be thinking about somebody else when you're having sex with your girlfriend or your wife or something. I mean, if you're a guy, you can get through it, but that's no fun. You really want to, if this person is not the most attractive person to you overall, what are you doing with them? And I don't mean physically, I mean the overall package, because people, how often have you found it? You have your own specs in terms of what my partner should be like physically, and then you end up with somebody who looks completely different, and then at first maybe they didn't seem so sexy to you, and then over time they blossomed like a flower and you had a wonderful sexually fulfilling relationship. I don't know if everybody's had that. I've experienced that. So I think the main thing people need to do is go into meeting new people and relationships with an open mind and knowing every day, every second is a different world, and your partner could change and you could change, and it's a living organism, your relationship. So look at it as with the wonder of beauty that you're witnessing,
Yeah,
and
no.
and being and partaking in it.
Yeah. Well, and expressing it yields you, well, as it says here, yields more happiness because you make that, it just feels good when somebody sincerely tells you that they're attracted, that you look good. It's just a good thing to do, in my opinion. Lastly, let me do one more, and I thought that was interesting. If you had to do it all over, would you choose the same partner again? That's a hard one to answer, honestly. Probably it says here, drum roll please. Three out of four, or 70% of respondents says yes.
I'm not surprised for two reasons. Because one, I think it's a good thing, and I think there's a lot of good news in the world. But secondly, if somebody says no, that basically is admitting of a big mistake, a big life mistake. So it's a two-edged sword there. But I understand that, and I think I will take it as it's good news.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely good news. I'm wondering if it's one of those. Even though you're filling this out yourself, it's difficult to put that even by yourself. Hit the button of no,
That's
because
right.
that means that there's something you have to deal with something. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't mean to be pessimistic in any ways. I felt like with the divorce rate the way it is with people,
Right.
that seemed super high to me. Anyway, it's something to ponder. I would encourage you. It's kind of fun. It's the Normal Bars online survey. I'll link to it if you want to play with it. But it opens up, makes you think about your actions, your beliefs, and how that relates to whether or not you're getting it or not. Robert, is there
But
anything else I've
yes, I
prompted?
want I want to elaborate on one point. I think for men, it's so important. If you believe that your partner is the most beautiful person in the world and you make her feel that way, you will be repaid like a king.
Yes. Yes, you will. Is Paul listening? No, absolutely, absolutely. Robert, thank you. I always love having these discussions with you. Again, it's not anything earth-shattering, yet it may be. One little point, one little hand, holding hands, one unexpected kiss in public, and you may be going off in a whole different direction. So, thank you again for talking with me. I look forward to having you back on Second Act TV.
I can't wait. Thank you, Silka. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Robert. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube. When you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.